She was working in a bridal shop in Flushing.
This, in her own words, is a wonderful look into your life for the people that love you through The Nanny and through Indebted and through all of your work. And you share very personal experiences. How did it come about, this project? Was there any hesitancy to open up?
Oh, no. And nor was there any on the part of my friends and family that we included in it, because I know who we chose is very fluid and open and easy in front of a camera. I'm kind of an open book. I've written 2 New York Times bestsellers that are all about my life and my experiences. I want to start another book that really talks about, where I'm at now and since the cancer and how long it's taken me to get on to this place and what I've learned the hard way. And my parents are old. And I thought, for posterity, let's do it. Let's just do it, because they'll be in it, and Peter will be in it, and I'll be in it, and, my nearest and dearest friends. And it'll be, something that I'll cherish forever.
Yeah.
So we, dived in the deep end, did everything that was asked of us. And the outcome, I think, is really wonderful. I mean, the guy that made it, Bill, he kept saying that he realized that the centerpiece of the story is this very unusual, lifelong love affair with my gay ex-husband.
A wonderful, almost, soulmate relationship.
I'm sure you can meet many soulmates in one's life, but without question, he is top of the heap.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go, probably their entire life without meeting, and so you have this person that's been in your life throughout from the beginning when, you were a little girl we see as such a go-getter, right? And you knew what you wanted from the very beginning, it seemed. And would you credit Lucille Ball as the woman that really inspired you to perform, the person that put you on that path?
I was really, like a huge fan, and I definitely wanted to aspire to be as good as she was. And so in that regard, I think that all along the way she got her own TV show, the way she got her husband involved in the TV show, the way they challenged the status quo, reinvented the wheel on how a situation comedy gets shot, the multicam, concept, the physical comedy. And also, I think being a beautiful woman that's funny is an unusual combination. And she often dressed quite beautifully and was beautiful. And I just, I definitely wanted to be like her. And, but I think at a very young age, even before I was, very familiar with Lucille Ball, I thought I wanted to be an actress. And I also felt like I wanted to have a level of style that like an Audrey Hepburn had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, we felt when we were doing the show that we needed that big staircase and we needed Fran to come down in incredible clothes all the time. It was our creation, so it played to our strengths, my strengths.
You mentioned style. It was a style that you wanted to have, and that's a style that Lucille Ball had, or Judy Garland, or whatever. And you have your own Fran Drescher style. I think that style is also a lot of gumption, and you went after it by calling agents and saying, "I won that New York, pageant," right? And then you book a role in an iconic film like Saturday Night Fever, and you have this memorable line. Can you, sort of take us back to that time, being on set of such an iconic film that you didn't know it was going to be that iconic, but what was it like doing that?
Well, I was a big fan of John Travolta's. He was on Welcome Back, Kotter as a sweat hog. And I mean, Peter and I, we would watch him and think, this guy is so talented. He's so funny. It's not him he's doing. He's acting, and his timing is perfect. And even though we were younger than him, still living at home with our parents, we were able to discuss that and understand the quality that makes John Travolta the enduring star that he is. That movie had two directors. The first one was released. While the first one was in place, I had been going up for the role that was ultimately played by Carolyn Gorney. And then when John Avildsen was replaced by ultimately the guy that directed it, he was dating Carolyn Gorney, and she was a big soap star at the time. So he booked her as that part. And I thought, oh, there goes that. But then he called me in for that smaller part. And I was very grateful to take anything that would put me into my first major motion picture. And, that's my dress that I wore in that scene. And when I touch his tush, walking at the dance floor, that was me. And when he spins me off and says, oh, forget this, and goes into his famous solo dance number, I don't walk off the stage. I stood there and I watched him, almost a little annoyed. But that I wasn't directed to do either. That was me. And, I think that I've always had a tenacious quality to me. In fact, it was the president of CBS that said to me that I was a Russell because I had the curves of Jane Russell, the comic timing of Roz Russell, and the tenacity of a Jack Russell.
Going into The Nanny, you meet the CBS president on the plane, and he says yes when you go to Los Angeles.
1.5 hours later, he says yes.
Right. Well, because
I could call his office to pitch ideas. And we're developing ideas, but not The Nanny. It was not until I actually was on the trip that I thought of that and called Peter in the middle of the night and said, what do you think about a spin on The Sounds of Music? Only instead of Julie Andrews, I come to the door. And he thought for a moment and then said, that's it. Unbeknownst to us, they were looking for 8 o'clock family shows. Everything kind of fell into place. But it mightn't had I not had years earlier an experience where I was going up on a commercial in New York. And I, again, was still living at home with my parents, a teenager. And I had to, do my hair and my makeup and get all gorgeous. And then I had to take 2 buses and a train to get to this meeting. And when I was there, I kind of got self-conscious. I didn't give it my all. And I knew I didn't get it. I knew I screwed it up. The regret of doing it the wrong way is far worse than just getting out of your way, throwing yourself into it, and getting to the other side. And so that became a life lesson for me. So, when I was 33 years old and I run into the president of CBS on the plane, I thought about that young girl that was still living at home with her parents, regretful that she didn't carpe diem, that she didn't seize the day. And I thought to myself, I'm going to talk to this man. This is very fortuitous. He's got to give me my own show. I had already done a short-lived series for him, a pilot that didn't get picked up, maybe some other things. So I was always doing pilots. They wouldn't get picked up. And he said, there's a lot of opportunities coming down the pike. I said, no, Jeff, nothing is going to fit me hand in glove because I'm too unique.
Yeah.
You have to listen to Peter's and my ideas, because we know my brand of comedy better than anyone.
And he obviously had the confidence in you. You know, a lot of people say yes in this industry, it doesn't necessarily come to fruition. So how did once he said yes to the Nanny from Hell, Sound of Music, but the Nanny from Hell, because you became a part of it as an actress, producer, writer, director
sometimes.
Yeah. So how did that fall in place after he said yes?
I think he loved the idea, and he really was a fan of mine, and he wanted to go for it. But we had to be married up with a more experienced showrunner team. And they, we learned a lot from them. And I think in some ways they learned a lot from us. And together we made a dynamic foursome that created something that became classic television.
And it will live on forever, like yourself, Fran Drescher, and Lucille Ball.
Well, now Peter and I are doing the Broadway musical of it. We're writing it right now, and we got Rachel Bloom of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend to do the music.
When do you foresee that? Obviously, Broadway is dark right now. The world.
They just asked if we would extend by a year because of this unfortunate delay, and it's buying us time to perfect it.
Yeah.
So I cannot imagine this opening on Broadway sooner than 2 years. I mean, there's a backlog of shows that are waiting that were supposed to open. Some may never open, but many hopefully will. And we have to take it out of town too. It's always wise to not just go straight to Broadway, but to see where the kinks are and smooth them out.
What is your part, apart from being creator producer?
Well, first of all, I can't sing really. And I'm too old to play the nanny. It's going to be exhausting. I mean, I did Cinderella like 6 years ago, and I'm still wounded with a ripped rotator cuff from it. I don't think I could, manage to do a musical with all those costume changes and everything. So we need to find somebody that's unbelievable, whether it be an unknown, the next Barbra Streisand, or whether it be, someone who's really interesting and close to the personality, but maybe a pop star. That is yet to be determined. And then Peter says, look, you could always open the show playing Sylvia. She only has one song in it. And it's more of a talking song. And, get it on its feet. Yeah. And then you could be replaced by somebody else that's a great Broadway personality, like Judith Light or Judy Gold would be great as Sylvia. That's not a part I'm worried about, is who's going to be Fran.
Right.
But we'll find that person, and she'll be wonderful.
I can't wait.
I like Annalee Ashford, too. She's great.
She's really wonderful.
Yeah, and funny.
I'm curious because, we got to talking about Broadway, and obviously the pandemic comes into place. As an overall creator, writer, producer, actress, the industry is shifting as far as how filmmakers and TV writers can get creative, during the pandemic. What are your thoughts on how we move forward and get back to filming and back to production?
I like the idea of stripping it down and keeping the production values, lean and mean and maybe shooting us, you know, like a situation scripted in my house. You know, it's that would be an ideal for me at this time. You know, hopefully it's all going to blow over, but it may take another year of more of the same. And we're just going to have to challenge ourselves to not try and repeat what has been, but to move forward into the new road less traveled.
You creating Cancer Schmancer and now using that as a resource to educate people. You know, you're doing your talk series, talking with doctors about coronavirus. I love that you're doing that. And tell me a little bit about that.
We just couldn't sit idle during this time when there's so much practical information that seems to be noticeably absent on national broadcasts. But we need to really start looking at how to bolster our immune system and get much healthier than we are.
Thank you so much. If I could put in a request, let's do like a sequel series that follows your parents around because they're so wonderful and amazing.
Sure, it would be my pleasure. And I hope everybody tunes in to the documentary on Reelz. I'm
Absolutely.
proud of it.
Have
Take
a great
care.
day.